Hello everyone! Today we'd like to take you on a journey back to the days of Trader Vic's and Don the Beachcomber, a long gone era. The type of restaurant you'd find back in the 60s and 70s, when tiki bars were a dime a dozen, and every now and then you could still see a girl wearing a poodle skirt. Though times have changed, there are still some retro gems hidden away if you look hard enough in our town. Back in the early days, at the old Gold Coast Hotel, many of you may remember that there was a little cafe that was legendary for having a secret Chinese menu. It was thought to be prepared by a Chinese chef and his tight-knit kitchen staff. It was said to have some of the best Chinese food in Las Vegas. Well, it's been many years since they closed, but the rumor is they've reopened in the Southpoint Hotel within the Coronado Cafe. Is it just coincidence that you'll also find a secret Chinese menu at the Coronado Cafe? We'll leave that for you to decide. We came here during our Best of the Bargain Prime Rib Dinners video and accidentally stumbled upon this not-so-ancient yet well-kept Chinese secret. When we were first seated while making our prime rib video, we were given the standard menu, which was huge with an impressive variety of options. It was almost dizzying. Always keen to see what others are ordering, we noticed a number of tables with bowls filled with brown, old-fashioned fried chow mein noodles with little plastic ramekins filled with Chinese sauces. So we asked our server, "Hey, what item on the menu comes with those noodles?" "Oh," she said, "that's our secret Chinese menu." "Is it good?" we asked. "People come here from all over to get our Chinese food," she said. "They say it's the best anywhere." The guys in the kitchen and the owner are all Chinese. They don't even understand me back there when I speak English. Then she laughed. She promptly brought us out a Chinese menu. We felt as if we'd had found a hidden portal to a dark, secret world filled with mystery and surprise. The Chinese menu not only comes with these wonderful crispy noodles and oodles of sauces, but free tea. I got mine iced, as you can see. Each dish also comes with free white rice, but for $2 more, you can upgrade to fried rice. Fried rice, however, is somewhat bland. I'm sure it's tame because it's meant to be used as you would the white rice, to complement but not overpower your entree. As we examined the secret Chinese menu, a large table with about 10 Asian people were seated next to us. They seemed like they were regulars. I overheard one woman say, "Anything Chinese you get here will be really good. And by the way, the dumplings, they're like you dream about." And being someone who dreams about dumplings, I immediately got chills. And so, our adventure began. Well, we're off to a great start with these honey walnut shrimp. Look how huge these prawns are. The sauce is gold. It's honestly one of the best I've ever tasted. So far, our search for the perfect honey walnut shrimp reminds me of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Sometimes the sauce is too sweet, other times not sweet enough. But this one is just right. Perfect amount of honey, sweetened condensed milk, and mayo. A masterful balancing act. The shrimp are perfectly crispy without being greasy at all. Their texture is textbook perfect, crunchy enough to hold up to the sauce without getting soggy. I was so shocked to see diced melons underneath. We were almost taken back. But it works. It reminds me of a dish from the early 70s or 80s, and this surprise element, wow. The diced melon underneath it blends so well with the rich, sweet honey walnut sauce. This mixture is amazing. I'm almost feeling melancholy eating this dish, because I know at some point we'll finish and there'll be no more shrimp. This is such an incredible version of this dish. I don't want it to end. These walnuts are a work of art, so wonderfully candied, they glisten. I could eat a whole bowl of these. Okay, you have to try this dish. You just have to. Well, these are truly extraordinary dumplings. They're filled with pork, cabbage, celery, and onions, and served with Chinese vinegar. But feel free, as we did, to dip them in the various sauces they provide. I loved all these sauces. The duck sauce reminds me of New York-style Chinese that seemed to disappear in the 80s. As one of our viewers mentioned to us in a comment, you just don't see it around that much anymore. The difference between sweet and sour sauce and duck sauce is night and day. Sweet and sour sauce is just a mixture of vinegar, sugar, water, and a thickener like cornstarch. Duck sauce usually contains apricot jam, ginger, garlic, sometimes plums, and has a deep, rich flavor. Like that song in the 90s said, things that make you go, The filling is so umami rich, very well seasoned, and on the verge of being salty, but ever so pleasing to my taste buds. This other sauce is sort of a hoisin sauce, and you can tell it's homemade. The spicy mustard and chili oil are also created in the kitchen and are just delicious. These dumplings are as good, if not better, than any of the dim sum houses in Chinatown, and I'd eat these anytime. Once you get them, you'll see what I mean, and you'll be back for more, just as we will. Stir-fried broccoli, carrots, snow peas, baby corn, mushrooms, onions and water chestnuts with an oyster and soy-based sauce. Okay, this is very good chow mein. The pasta is maybe a tad overcooked, but the flavor is fantastic. I love the richness of the soy sauce that's infused into not only the chicken, but the various veggies that are blended into this dish. You can tell that it's an authentic Chinese version of this chow mein, and not a cheap American knockoff. Okay, time for a reality check. Is this the best chow mein in the city? No, far from it. There are too many places here that make homemade noodles that far surpass this version of chow mein. Would I order it again? Yes, I definitely would. But it won't be the first thing on my go-to list here. There are way too many better things to order, as you'll soon see. They serve these spring rolls with their fabulous plum sauce and Chinese barbecue sauce. Feel free to dunk them into the spicy Chinese mustard as well. It's wicked spicy, and you'll love it. These are such a nice surprise. The pastry is house-made, and they take me back to my childhood and memories of my dad bringing us home that old-fashioned style Chinese food they used to make in LA Chinatown that you just don't see anymore. So crispy, the pastry crumbles into shards of flakes that gracefully fall into your plate as if they're almost doing a dance. Another dish you don't want to end, so you savor every bite as though it's your last, and feel a little sad when you know they're gone. The filling is remarkably fresh: Chinese cabbage, carrots, and onions. These are truly memorable, and if you have good taste buds, you'll be dreaming about this dish for years to come. Now the Mongolian beef. Sautéed Blvd beef, onions, and bell peppers in a hoisin and soy-based sauce, and served on a bed of crispy cellophane noodles. Okay, this is not the dish of the day. In fact, we're not fans of this dish at all. I'd advise you to avoid it. No charred flavor, no wok hei taste whatsoever. Way too sweet and out of balance. I don't know what went wrong here, but we hated it. We've noticed that every sushi place we've been to has a roll called "Something Went Wrong," yet there never seems to be anything wrong with it. Well, that name would have applied here in spades. There's so many good things to get on this secret menu, but this isn't one of them. I do have to say that most Chinese places don't seem to know what they're doing when it comes to Mongolian beef, and we found that the places that know how to make it right are few and far between. General Tso's Chicken has battered chicken and jalapenos with green onions cooked into a spicy chili oil and oyster sauce. There are many versions of this dish. Some are not battered and just stir-fried in a fiery wok. The version here is a wonderful Chinese-American one that's deep-fried to please both Western and Asian palates. The chicken is really nice and crispy. The batter is intensely crunchy to the point you can hear the person across the restaurant's teeth breaking through. The chicken itself is very moist and fresh. Big, thick pieces of breast meat cut into huge chunks before being coated and deep-fried. The sauce is very spicy and sweet, reminiscent of a spicy sweet and sour chicken, and it's glorious. This dish could have perhaps used a tad more vinegar to balance out the sweet, but all in all, it was a great dish and we thoroughly enjoyed it. Here's a tip: add a little more of the chili oil if you like it spicy. It goes really well with the Tso Chicken. Wor Won Ton Soup has pork and shrimp-filled dumplings, sliced chicken, shrimp, barbecue pork, carrots, bok choy, water chestnuts, baby corn, snow peas, and in a chicken broth. Okay, you may like this soup. They give you enough for 3 people, and for the most part, it's enjoyable. The wontons are very flavorful, the chicken is moist and tender, and they give you a generous amount. The shrimp are large, plump, and fresh. I loved all the veggies as well. However, the broth is a little on the bland side. It could have used a little more chicken bouillon to liven it up. I ended up adding salt and soy sauce and a bit of chili oil to it, and it did improve the taste. Had they not have been jam-packed busy, I would have asked for some chicken nora bouillon, though the language barrier would have been a problem in the kitchen between our server and the cooks. I've heard the hot and sour soup is really good. I wish you'd ordered that instead of the Wor Won Ton. I don't recommend this soup. This cashew chicken is made with thinly sliced chicken, mushrooms, snow peas, onions, celery, mini corn, and water chestnuts, and of course, cashews. It was a magnificent dish, one of the best versions I've ever had anywhere. The sauce was smooth and velvety. It's almost a creamy texture, but I'm sure there's no cream in it. You can taste the soy, oyster, and toasted cashew flavors throughout the dish. This is such an easy thing to screw up, and most restaurants do so by using too much celery or an overabundance of onions. Here, you really taste the chicken and cashews, and the flavors are pristine and beautiful. Who would have thought that you could go to a hotel-style cafe and get such a great and authentic Chinese dish? Is this cashew chicken destined for a best of list? It would seem so. Egg Foo Young is a very old dish from Canton that evolved from the omelet. It became popular in the United States around 1930, then disappeared about 10 years ago. You can still find it in retro-style Chinese restaurants today, if you're lucky. Wow, this is without a doubt one of the best Egg Foo Young versions you'll ever taste. I promise you. If you remember Egg Foo Young and have been craving it, as I have since my childhood, then this is the place for you. Few restaurants still make this nostalgic dish, and if they do, they don't tend to make it very well. You have a choice of getting it with chicken, beef, barbecue pork, or shrimp. The proteins come diced up inside the Egg Foo Young. I prefer when they're draped on the outside with the gravy, but that's not how they serve it here, so I opted for the veggie version. As you can see, they give you a very generous amount. The texture is so dense with vegetables, and there's a little crunch in each bite. Egg Foo Young, when made properly, doesn't really taste like eggs. It's a magical thing. Ironically, I'm not a fan of omelets, but love Egg Foo Young. This gravy is also wonderful, so rich and full-bodied. It coats the Egg Foo Young perfectly. If you get but one item here, I would say it should be this delightful dish. Pad Thai. I know, not a Chinese dish, and we were on the fence about ordering it. Shrimp, pork, chicken, and scrambled eggs with both green and white onions, bean sprouts, and carrots stir-fried in a peanut sauce. I asked 3 different servers who worked here, "What's your favorite dish?" All of them, unanimously, said it was the Pad Thai. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I was not a fan of it. This didn't taste anything like authentic Pad Thai. It tasted like what I imagined my red-headed Chinese stepchild would make. The sauce was a stodgy peanut sauce, thick and very sweet. There was no tart tamarind taste. The dish should really have had that. There also wasn't any fish sauce in it. It was a huge disappointment. To boot, the pasta was very overcooked. Note to self, never be persuaded to order Pad Thai in a Chinese restaurant. Well, this was our dish of the day. By far, one of the best renditions of this recipe I've ever tasted. It reminded me of a lost dish you never really see anymore on a Chinese menu, pressed duck. My all-time favorite dish as a kid. The pork was so crispy and the skin, it was like the best crackling you'll ever taste in your life. Crispy, crunchy, mouth-wateringly delicious. I know it looks great here, but believe me, it's even better than it looks, and you have to try this. I don't know how they got this pork so crispy, but it's amazing. The flavor reminds me of duck, the absolute crispiest duck you can imagine. The sauce is stupid good, sweet, tart, and savory all at the same time, with hints of plum and ginger in it. The pineapple mixed in and bell peppers are also great, and there's not too many of them, so they're not here as a filler as we find nowadays in many restaurants trying to keep up with rising costs. This is a dish you won't find prepared this perfectly in almost any Chinese restaurant anywhere in any Chinatown. Just one bite, and it takes you back to your first time trying Chinese food as a kid and falling in love with it. Remember the first time you tasted sweet and sour sauce? Well, this will give you a new barometer to compare it to and sets a very high bar. Okay, I know this sounds like hyperbole, but I'm totally serious when I tell you how great this dish is. You must try it. Every once in a while, our path through life leads us to a completely unexpected pleasure. We've raced past the Coronado Cafe countless times on our way to get in line at the Southpoint buffet, hungry to satisfy our prime rib cravings. We'd seen the long line and wondered what all the fuss was about, but dismissively assured each other we'd take a closer look next time. It's always next time. Then we put together our best hotel prime rib review and finally made it to the Coronado Cafe. While we loved the prime rib dinner, little did we know that lurking behind the casual veneer and expansive Western menu was another full Chinese menu. A most remarkable and unexpected find indeed. Here, all this time, there was a secret hiding in plain sight at the Southpoint Hotel. Okay, it had a few faults, but what we found is some of the best and most authentic Chinese food anywhere we've ever tasted. For days now, I've been dreaming about the incredible and delicious Egg Foo Young, the honey walnut shrimp on a bed of melons, reminiscent of an ambrosia salad, but on steroids. And of course, the amazingly crispy sweet and sour pork with its ridiculously delicious sauce. And don't forget the subtly spicy General Tso's chicken with a touch of ginger in the duck sauce, as well as the fantastic Cashew Chicken. If you love Chinese food and are here on vacation, make sure to build your itinerary around this restaurant. And if you're a local, don't put this off as we did. We've been kicking ourselves for not discovering this restaurant sooner. We can't wait to return for another Chinese meal at the Coronado Cafe. Who knows, maybe you'll see us there. Make sure to say hello to Bernadette, David, and Julio for us. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. I know we're all guilty of watching YouTube videos and not participating. As a reminder, please like, comment, subscribe, or even become a VIP member to our channel. It means a lot to us, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit!